My name is Joy Lynn Davis. I'm an artist from California. I'm documenting community response to the theft of stone sculptures from the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal. My project is both a painting and research project. I visit sites from the books of Jürgen Schick, Lane Singh Bangdel, and other art historians who've documented the theft of stone sculptures, and at those sites I'm photographing the sites the way they look presently and talking with elders to hear their memories about the relationships they had with the sculptures. And then back in the studio, I paint the sites the way I experienced them, the way I saw them, the way they look presently. And then I'm referencing the old photographs to paint what's been lost. And I use gold. I use gold to paint the stolen sculptures. The gold is an easy visual language for showing what's been lost from each site, and it also references the commodification of the sacred. Next to each painting in the exhibition, I display the historical photographs and my current photographs of the sites, information about replicas that might have been created, and those narratives shared by the communities and the spaces. The goal of this project is really public awareness. I think if people see the beautiful spaces and communities that these sculptures came from, the importance that they had in those communities, I think it will slow down the trade, the illicit trade of Nepal's cultural artifacts. This is a painting of a temple that's just here in Squire, just right outside of the museum where we are here in Patan. And this sculpture, I can show you here actually, was stolen just about 4.5 years ago. And it's an image of Mahalakshmi. And this is what the site looks like now. There's a big gaping hole where she was. It was a beautiful image taken at night just a few years ago. I first came to Nepal in 2003, a year after finishing my undergraduate work. I majored in art, but I felt disenchanted with the contemporary art world. Most of the contemporary art I was seeing was intellectually stimulating, but it had no purpose. It had no heart. I came to Nepal thinking about giving up art entirely and pursuing physical therapy or social work. But something happened. Nepal changed the way I see art. Here, art is part of people's spiritual lives, part of their cultural identity. Sculptures of the gods are everywhere, in public spaces, the temples, the water taps, in fields. People interact with them. They touch them, they give them flowers and incense. Children play with them. I'm here in Pulchok at the Ganesh temple, and this sculpture was stolen 29 years ago in 1985 from this niche here that's now empty. And I'm planning on doing a painting of this image, and what I'll do is I visited the site this morning and photographed it, and I'll continue to come back periodically and visit and photograph the site, and also talk to people who live in this neighborhood and hear about their relationship with the sculpture. And so first what I'll do is make a drawing of, I'll probably do this entire area of all 3 of these sculptures, because the 2 that are remaining are really quite exquisite, and they're still, of course, as you can see from all the red tika powder, they're still loved by the community. And then I'll paint these remaining images first, and then eventually later, then I'll paint referencing the historical photograph, I'll paint the original sculpture back into its site using gold. Immediately after the earthquake, one of my big concerns was the risk of theft at the cultural sites. And that night I called everyone I knew who I thought might have any power to help make sure the sites were secured. The good news that I heard later was that there are very few thefts that happened. Just a few hours after the earthquake, I was in the Patan area at Swotha Temple. And the community their first priority was in pulling people out of the rubble. It happened on a Saturday afternoon, and people were worshipping at the temples that morning and then enjoying the afternoon on the steps of the temple. But as soon as they were done with their rescue efforts, they immediately turned to rescuing the cultural objects. So the stone sculptures and the wooden carved elements from the temple, and locking those away in a nearby courtyard. The earthquake came just 2 weeks after the opening of my main exhibition in Kathmandu. Because I had been involved in issues of safeguarding and preventing the illicit trafficking of art, UNESCO approached me to be part of their coordination team. I'm still committed to being part of rebuilding here in Nepal. The nonprofit that I founded, the Himalayan Art and Cultural Heritage Project, will be involved in preserving the intangible cultural heritage, so the continuation of worship and festivals, the traditional arts, and also education about cultural heritage. And we'll also be involved in assisting rural communities and helping to rebuild the smaller temples and shrines that may not get funding otherwise. So any funds that we received can help assist those communities.